What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Littleroot Lessons, episode 305. I'm your host, Angelo, and I'm joined by the hardest working producer in Pokemon podcasting, Carl. How's it going, buddy?
I'm tired. We are doing this way too late because I don't
Way
want to
too
do
late.
it late tomorrow. So
That, and it's like we also just spent an hour talking about football
yeah,
instead.
it's fine.
That, like, we've had a busy weekend, or at least I had a busy weekend. I don't know what you did this weekend.
I worked
Okay, that's what I
Sunday.
thought.
I worked today, and then we were busy doing stuff Saturday, taking all the Christmas stuff down, shopping, etc. So I've had a busy weekend. I have a toddler at home, so it's just like
it's always busy.
Kayla and Amelia have been home for like 4 days, so the house is a mess, and just trying to keep up and with her energy is nearly impossible.
Speaking of houses, today, my wife and I, we went and did we went and saw 3 houses today. So we started actually like going and looking at houses. The first 2 were not great. One of them we figured out, like the realtor, we were like going through it at our realtors in the basement. Is like, yeah, this was probably a grow room in the basement. And then the next house we go there, and the pictures made it look like there was like a yard and everything next to it, and like there was actually a decent bit of space, like not like a ton of land, but like, you know, like enough room. And then we find out that that's actually just a separate lot, and that empty lot is getting a new house built right on it, and there is no yard or anything. It's just a house, and that wasn't good. But we did see one house. It looked promising. Not something we're fully like, oh, we have to have this.
I'm about to say, don't jump on the first house.
Yeah,
you find it's not. It's usually too good to be true most of the time.
Yeah, our weekends are pretty much going to be for like the next few month or 2, going to be looking at houses and playing in locals. Hopefully, I actually can. This upcoming Saturday, it's either going to be
it's GC weekend this Saturday.
I was supposed to say it's a GC weekend. I have a local, hopefully, that I get to play in.
We had a local this past Saturday.
Did you play?
No, I was.
You were working, yeah. No,
I was at home.
Yeah. So yeah, we have the first GC. This is again another one of the grand challenges. So it is TPCI only. So no Japanese players are going to be playing in it. Again, just to remind everyone that the GCs now. Championship points are based on region.
So they're pseudo region locked. So
yes.
NA only ranks against NA, EU only ranks against EU, etc., etc. So definitely, if you're looking for CP, definitely play in them.
Yeah,
I might even put something together. I haven't touched Scarlet and Violet since ZA came out, but
no,
I might get back on there and do something.
Yeah, I'm probably going to, whatever team I play for my local, I'll probably also just throw that in as my GC team. I am still 90 points away from getting my New England Worlds invite, and I have 0 GC points, so I'm probably going to play in every GC I get for the rest of the season, even if it's just to grab like an extra 5 or so, just so it can just add up a little.
I'll be interested to see what happens when we go to Champions for the GCs.
I think we're still going to have them.
I think it'll be interesting because the format will change to whatever the Champions is. We don't know exactly Champions online, the way it all is going to work out. How great it's going to be, how supportive it's going to be. Is it going to be stable enough to run big online events like this at the start, that early on, etc. So we only may get GCs through the Life of Scarlet and Violet, and then when we do that eventual swap to Champions, whether it's at Worlds or before Worlds or whatever, it'll be bye-bye to GCs for now.
Yeah, maybe.
Just for the time being.
Yeah, I think the other thing that, just bringing up Champions, it is January 4th. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year. We're probably about a month or so away from finding out more info on Champions.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say, it's like
it can happen anytime between now and Pokemon Day.
Yeah, honestly,
that's where my money's at.
The money on just being like a Pokemon Day shadow drop, like, here you go, guys.
Oh, that'd be what everybody wants. They would have actually. Almost, since it's a mobile thing, they would almost have to slow roll out that. They cannot do that shadow
Yeah.
drop like that.
Well, I was going to say, so Pokemon Day is going to be on a Friday, which is awesome because if they do that,
then you just have to.
Then I'm just messaging my boss. I'm like, hey, buddy, I have like I don't know, I have a thing with a guy later. That guy is me playing this new game. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's when. Oh no, so what's funny is I'll be doing that, and then all the accountants in my firm, because it'll all be smack dab in tax season, they'll be doing like 15-hour days, and I'm gonna be sitting there hour into work. I'm like, nah, this ain't it today. See ya.
Not doing it. Bye. Yeah. Being on a Friday, it's always nice for Pokemon Day because it's like, oh, you have the whole weekend to enjoy the whatever they have dropping, or the news, or speculation, or whatever. If everything goes the way we're expecting it to, we're definitely expecting Champions either to slow roll out that weekend, or I guess shadow drop the day of. I doubt they just drop it all like that.
Yeah,
I feel like it would have to be a slow rollout, otherwise they'll crash everything.
Yeah, it'll end up coming soon, hopefully. And that's the thing, like, I am looking forward to Champions. I think I definitely need something new. We've talked about this a lot with, especially the recent episodes, with the number of like repeat formats and everything recently. I think like the community just needs something new.
Yeah,
even the regionals.
That's been
like
that's
that. I think it's just been the vibe.
Feel. Yeah. It's kind of like what's cool is our local scene's finally starting to figure out like consistent scheduling and getting people in. They're like, I think we had 8 this past weekend, but it was 9 because it was 3, 3, and 3. It was 3 juniors, 3 seniors, 3 masters. And they ended up having them all play together. Their goal is 15. This next one they do, which the next one's going to be, I think, in February sometime. But the general consensus has been the formats are boring. We need something new. I know there's people hosting like Little Cup tournaments, and there's people doing other things like that. Our tournament organizer shares the Pokemon Professor tournament like monthly rule set with us, and he offers to host events using that, like non-official events using that rule set if they want to play and things like that. And it's been interesting. The last
You not?
I was like, she's trying to climb out of there. She's like, get me out of here.
So when I had both turtles, when Squirt was still alive, they would like stack up on top of each other to try to push off.
They do what turtles do, and they stack.
And I just turn around, and they just act like, toddlers who were caught doing something wrong, and they just both like jump off the rock and just go back in the water and pretend that they did nothing. Yeah, no, those other side tournament like formats are pretty fun. We have a lot of professors in the New England area, to the point where like they actually have like, I only know this because I'm a mod of the New England server and they get to put me everywhere, but the professors have their own chat where they plan out, it's like, hey, we're doing this for us. And they'll have their own like like the Rainbow Cup and everything, where it's like you have to use every type and every type including Terras, no overlap.
That's what they're doing right now. It's the you could have up to max. It's up to 2. It's only 2 for a type. It's 2 or none.
Yep.
And so between 2 of your Pokemon have to share a type. You can't have more than 2 overlaps between the Pokemon and their Terra types, and there's lots of fun rule sets like that. There was one where it was name based, like the first letter and the last letter, and you have to find like your Pokemon. Your team has to go whatever the first letter is, the last letter, then the next Pokemon's the start of that last letter, and then you kind of just do that back and forth all the way down the line. There's some fun formats that they get to play with, and that's how you enjoy this I guess down period, is finding fun formats or doing things like the GC, and finding different ways to enjoy VGC, or at least to spend your time while you wait for the new game to come out.
Yeah, and I will say, like, if you are waiting for Champions, like if you're listening to this podcast, you haven't dove into to VGC, you want to go like wait for champions, play now.
I'm about to say, yeah, I don't think there's really a
you.
benefit to waiting for champions. I
No.
guess if you don't have Scarlet and Violet,
you can
that's
even
probably
still,
a big detriment, but you could just play on Showdown.
I was going to say still play on Showdown. A lot of times, I think this is like a big issue, like with me personally, with trying to just keep on playing, is that even if you like don't plan on going to a regional or something, just the general reps and game sense, it does translate over generation to generation, over format to format.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Like,
there's certain things that like you can probably pick up as bad habits at one gen,
yeah,
the next, and you eventually will break out of those.
But yeah, it's just good like knowing even just stuff like as simply just getting reps for team preview.
Yeah,
and just knowing how to like that's just stuff that's always going to be useful, or how to preserve them on for an endgame state. Like that's different stuff that you can learn, whether you're playing with Dynamax, with Mega Evolutions, with Terra.
One of the things I'm very hopeful Champions does is it lets us keep the open team sheet effectively, but they end up integrating it through like the team preview. You can hit a button and it pulls up your opponent's items, moves, like the rental would. Like you would see for passing a rental, all you got to do is hit that button and it pulls up your opponent's moves, item, done. And that's all, like ability. Like you get to see all that information that you would normally see on like a rental paste or something, and you can hit the button again and it goes away. And I think something like that would be super easy to integrate and helps us keep OTS a thing, and even lets your OTS best of one start to thrive a little bit more. It puts emphasis back on the best of one formats as a way to practice still for regionals and worlds and etc.
The biggest thing like pre-open OTS was that like you could do these best of one close sheets, especially ladder tournaments were massive back then, and we've had a few with some decent-ish success in terms of people signing up. But like the big thing, like I remember like back in late 2020, like regulate like Series 7-ish, you would have like a ladder tournament with sometime, I mean, we had a handful with like 30-40 people when we were a much smaller server at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be people like Joe Ugarte would put one on and you'd see like 200 people, or Pokesports when they were doing their stuff, or like Rose Tower. And it was because like these best of ones could actually act as your game one practice.
It was your game one practice, there was. But now that we are in like the Scarlet and Violet with the open team sheets, I feel like a lot of people have kind of just pushed things like the GC off. It's like, I don't really care about closed team sheet best of one because VGC is open team sheet best of three, and that's why they put CP on these global challenges again, is to kind of incentivize our player base to play in these events again. That way it's not just the reason, that's why they're like the resources they spend is worth it to them.
Yeah,
to put these.
And speaking of the GC and having fun, I know there was a few other things that we're looking at, but I think like in terms of like things that happened, there was this Summit of Champions Invitational.
Yeah.
Kinagawa, Fiero, Alex Gomez, and Wolfie.
Let me.
We can pull those up real quick
because this was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was a double elimination. I think it was double elimination into top two play another match kind of thing, which is why you see like a 3-0 and a 2-2 and a 1-2 and a 0-2. Like it's just kind of how 4-player double elimination works. Poor Wolfie.
Yeah.
Did not do too hot. There's some cool things. Like this Terra Dragon Glamora is really neat. Normally this is like grass. Dragon's interesting because it's like, you resist water and fire. It's like some pretty common like damage types that would be thrown into ground. Like neutral to ground. You don't really care about fairy because you have the sludge bombs that you scare all them off, things like that. Playing some of the more standard stuff, like there's a Prankster goes Tornadus, Choice Band Terra Dark Urshifu for just really big wicked blows and sucker punches.
Specs
The
Flutter.
Landorus Therian was actually probably, in my opinion, the coolest part of his team.
Yeah.
Because this is not like the Choice Scarf U-turn set that we're used to seeing. This is a Life Orb, Terra Flying, Terra Blast set with Earthquake, Stopping Tantrum, T-Blast, and Protect. Like, this is not a locked-in Landorus, can pivot in and out freely, but still change its moves depending on what your opponent switches in. So it causes a little bit more headache. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, the fact that it's Life Orb as well, it's putting out a lot of damage. It really is leaning into the fact that like Landorus does have this really high base attack stat. Also, just for Wolf, this is a very hyper offensive team. When Wolf,
this is a very aggressive team for the way Wolfie plays.
He's mentioned in the past, I believe it was the video where he's like, "Oh, I won the GC," where it's what he's trying to do during his current hiatus is not just so last year the big thing was, or a couple of years back, it was just use good Pokemon, and then he was okay, I can use good Pokemon and also just master multiple formats with my favorite Pokemon in Perish. And now I think it's because he's won mostly with these balancy, Perishy sort of teams, going and being like, let me play teams that I usually don't. Yeah, so like the GC was hyper offense. This is very hyper offense. Actually, if you replace the Lando with a Chi-Yu, that is the classic Flutterfish.
Yeah, it's the classic Flutterfish team, yeah.
Yeah. But this has the Lando Therian instead, gives the team more physical offense, gives the team Intimidate.
I'm interested in the Terra, like if this Terra Dark is actually better for Urshifu than the Terra Poison, because man, Terra Poison Jab hits like a truck.
I'm assuming that the Terra Dark Choice Band Wicked Blow also hits like a
well, yeah, it hits like a truck, but the Terra Poison's also a defensive Terra on top of it. So it's like you have a really good like check into a lot of the grass types, the fairy types with the Terra Poison Jab. But when you're still the Terra Dark, I think Moonblast from Fluttermane still like just deletes you even if it's only ×2 instead of ×4. So it's like you'd almost have to make sure like you're a very bulky Urshifu if you're Terra Dark to try and live that Moonblast most of the time.
Yeah, I'm just I can just run a quick calc for you right now.
While you're doing that, we'll go to Alex's team.
So the bulky speed booster. Yeah, no, it's yeah, you are one moment. Yeah, you're still getting got.
Yeah,
this is only like 36. This is like 36 timid. And unless Wolf is running special offense on it, that's
what I'm trying to get to. It's like it's a bulky. It's probably bulky.
Even with the special, like if you're running like 252 special defense and 4 HP, it still has a 25% chance to KO you, straight up. So like that's. But also, I think the other aspect of it is, the Terra Dark Sucker Punch is also. This is the Flutter I'm using. This is 212 HP, 132 defense, and this is Jolly Banded Terra Dark Sucker Punch always picks up as well. So that's like your counterbalance in you can don't let the Flutter, like don't switch it into an obvious Moonblast, but if you can get the Flutter and the single strike Urshifu on the field, there's no other redirection or anything, you do have
there's no way for it to interact with the Sucker Punch coming in. It's going to probably pick it.
Long story short, one of those two Pokemon's going down. It's
something's going down. We just don't know what. Pokealex's team. Again, this feels pretty standardy. This is a Choice Band Waterfu. Search Strikes, Close Combat, U-turn, Aqua Jet. Not crazy. Clear Amulet, Rillaboom, Terra Water, high horsepower. It's pretty common on the Rillabooms, I feel like, nowadays.
Yeah.
Golden goes Terra Flying instead of Terra Water or Dragon like we're used to seeing. I guess that like makes the Landorus matchup better, I guess is the reasoning for it, because it's like, well, you can't Sludge Bomb me, and if I Terra Flying, you can't Earth Power me, so it's like you have to kind of just guess what I'm going to do. that turn to hit me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably a good, probably like a more niche specific, like player specific choice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like grass on Flutterbean's very common, right? Like this is
the bulky booster speed support flutter that we've been seeing. It's Terra Grass. You're again running booster speed. Your Thunder Wave spamming, your Icy Wind spamming, your Taunt is stopping setup, it's stopping Follow Me, it's stopping Trick Room, and then Moonblast is just a great stab for the Pokemon.
Assault Vest Incineroar, multi-scale loaded Dice Dragonite round out the rest of that team. Marco
I think
Fiero.
Another cool thing. Yeah, before we go, I think another cool thing with that team, and I just love seeing this. It's a double core where you have both the Water, Fire, Grass.
Yeah, you got your
Instant Ursh and your Fantasy core. I always like that, and also double Ghost is always really cool. Just again, we have these very powerful fighting types in the Urshifus.
Yeah.
Stopping them from being able to click close combat, pretty heat. This is just classic balance. Like this is just like Calm Mind, Raging Bolt, lefties stuff. There is Pain Split on that Flutter. People like Fluttermane gets so many attacks.
There's so many moves on Fluttermane because it's a ghost type. It has access to so many other things that you could probably want to play, and it ends up being this Pokemon where it's like there's like 7 moves you can play, and if we were in a closed team sheet format, people would hate it.
Yeah.
I did not get to watch the VOD. Apparently, the Citrus Berry Incineroar was very, very important. So the Incineroar being Citrus Berry itself was important rather than it just being like an Assault Vest, a Goggles, or anything else like that. Again, high horsepower on Rilla, pretty common. No Sucker Punch, no Dark Move at all on Chien-Pao.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like going with the Ice Shard gives you priority that is a lot more reliable.
I'm about to say it's more consistent. Like it feels like you can use it more reliably instead of
Icicle Crash is really
punchy.
great. I believe Icicle Crash is probably there, especially to punish the Terra Flying. The Terra Grass Fluttermane. Was still thinking of the Terra Flying Goldango.
Yeah, right.
But it could also do that.
It could also do that. Yes.
Yeah, it's also just generally more damage. A lot of people. I'm not saying that a lot of people might calc for the Ice Spinner. The Icicle Crash, even though it can miss, has that little extra, and also you get your hacks chance with the Flinch on Icicle Crash. And Sacred Sword is just generally great coverage. Being able to punish steel types that usually would wall your Chien-Pao, be able to attack other Chien-Pao super effectively. Again, we see the Terra Steel on the Urshifu.
That's not common, right? That's something we don't see very often.
On the Mystic Water, especially, no. Now, for the Choice Urshifu, Steel does pop up as a Terra type that works for it. But on the Mystic Water variant, you're usually seeing Stellar Terra or Water Terra on it. Maybe Terra Ghost or Grass. Steel, not so often. And again, the Rillaboom we see, no U-turn, it feels like that move has really fallen off on the Rillaboom. People want that ground type coverage, especially when they don't already have it with
the land. Like you have to be able to answer the Raging Bolt in the room, and not having a Landorus to answer this thing means that you are going to rely a lot more on the Rillaboom to take care of it.
And then we can go with the last team, which is pretty fun.
This team has got a lot of people excited. Mostly because it's not something. There's 2 Pokemon we don't normally see in F: Iron Bundle and Thundurus Incarnate. No, Incarnate.
It's Incarnate.
The bundle. People have said the bundle's probably the weakest part. I think bundle's probably the most like skill intensive part. Freeze Dry is very interesting as a way to punish all of the water pond running around. They do not appreciate Freeze Dry, and when you are very reliant on your Rapid Strike Urshifu being one of your big damage dealers, you can essentially catch a lot of water ponds off guard by they swapped it in. Well, I just freeze dried that slot. Your water pond's dead. Congratulations, you killed it. And then my Surging Strike still gets to go through and hit whatever. You also have access to Icy Wind and Encore, so you get to beat up on the setup Raging Bolts that would normally threaten your Iron Bundle via Encore. can more accurately play around things like Thunderclap, because you can lock them into that, and then you can switch and play around it and do whatever you need to. Plus, you're 1 point faster than all of the booster speed Fluttermane, so your Icy Wind will go first every time. Lots to like about Iron Bundle. The Thundurus is the other super interesting part of this team. Wild Bolt, Eerie Impulse, Thunder Wave, and Taunt. Prankster Eerie Impulse just feels powerful.
Yeah, I think when we were talking about this a little before we got into this, I know Joe Ugarte posted a video that you were able to watch. I just saw the thumbnail saying like Thundy like solved the meta. One of the big teams going into this week that people have just been talking about in the format is the teams with that Hisuian Arcanine plus bulky, speedy Fluttermane lead, and being able to be Terra Steel to stop the Rocky Slide spam, or at least make the Arcanine commit to using a fire type attack into you, freeing up whether it's your Iron Bundle to go Icy Wind spam, your Rapid Strike Urshifu to just take a KO itself, your Landorus to go take a KO, etc., is really cool as you taunt the Fluttermane, stopping it from being able to use its own taunt and stopping the Thunder Wave. Eerie Impulse shuts down Flutter, it shuts down Lando. If you Eerie Impulse a Landorus, it can't do anything to you.
It's not doing anything to anything. It's -2 on what its special attack. It's just not doing anything.
Yep.
I feel like there is an argument to playing like Rain Dance on Thundurus with the rest of the squad the way it works out. Mostly because you have both Wild Bolt and Sandsear. If you were probably like the substitute set, you probably don't have to play the Rain Dance. Like, as you probably don't feel like you have to play the Rain Dance as much.
Yeah. I think the difficult thing is, it's like with this team though, it's like you want the taunt. Thunder Wave is insanely powerful in this format. You want the Eerie Impulse for all of the reasons we just talked about. Thundurus is running into that 4-move slot syndrome where Rain Dance makes so much sense with your Mystic Water Urshifu and both of your Weather like Spread Genie Storm moves. But then it's like, okay, where do I put it? And then it becomes
that's the problem, right? It's just like, where do you put it? Do you put it over the taunt? Do you put it over the Thunder Wave? You won't put it over the Eerie Impulse. That's why you're playing this Pokemon. So it's just like it's hard to fit it on here. I didn't notice this until just now. This is a U-turn instead of a close combat Urshifu. I hate it.
That is
I hate this.
That is very Japanese.
I do not like it. I want my close combat. I want to just punch things. I don't want to be slow U-turn. It makes sense if we were like Band or Scarf or something, but I slow U-turn just does not do it for me, man.
Yeah, and I think it maybe is because of the fact that balance-wise, you want that double pivot option, and if you're running the ground type, like the ground coverage on Rillaboom, and even then it's like you can argue that the U-turn should be on Rillaboom because the ground type, you have the ground type on Lando already.
Yeah.
But I think
this leaves you open to having two answers to Raging Bolt, which Raging Bolt is a problem for this team. Yeah. That's why we play the Thundurus and the Landorus. Like Bundle's weak to it, Urshifu's weak to it. Like we don't like seeing Raging Bolt as much, so we want to have multiple ways of dealing with it, which is why we have Ground Rillaboom, Landorus, and Eerie Impulse Thundurus. Like we have 3 Pokemon that we can bring into Raging Bolt, and it's going to deal with it quite effectively. Speaking of the GC, this is probably something I would look to play something similar to like in the shape of Bundle, Urshifu, Lando, Thundy, Rillaboom, Incin. Maybe you can swap like this to close combat, maybe change this item off of Shuka. If you want to play like the Citrus Berry or Goggles or whatever you think you're going to need to run into, and probably play that in the GC. This is probably really strong into a lot of like the more balanced stuff that you will probably see. I would imagine.
And I think one of the other things with that is because it is like the outside of the Bundle and Thundurus, they're not common Pokemon for this format specifically, but they are common enough to like VGC Pokemon. Like Iron Bundle was a staple of early Scarlet and Violet, and Thundurus is just VGC royalty. One of the really cool things with this team is GC based, as we move on to the latter part of our episode, which is discussing some teams that we think are neat to play in the GC.
Things you'll see.
Yes. One of the cool things with this 6 is, even though it's a very common 6, or at least like Pokemon that you know what to expect, you can run some different things in different spreads. Again, like, people are going to say, okay, this is a Kinagawa team. They're expecting no close combat. Well, throw close combat on there.
Yeah, put close combat on your...
Iron Bundle can, instead of being the double ice, you can have a Hydro Pump there. Over the Encore, like, if you want, you can have the substitute on Landers. You can find a place for Rain Dance on the Thundurus. You can do things where I'm using more.
I know you're just making a point.
More so, it's like there's so many things that these are 6 Pokemon that have so many different spreads, and the fact that we do have this exact 6 publicly out there, you can actually use that information as misinformation going into a GC, where it's like people are going to see this 6 and go straight to Limitless and pull this up. It's like, I have the open team sheet, and then they're then they're going to go Terra Steel in front of your Urshifu thinking they're safe, and they're going to get punched, and and your opponent's going to feel sad, and you're going to feel like a goddamn genius. But yeah, this was a cool thing. Again, all of the VODs are on. I know they're on YouTube. If you look up Summit of Champions Winter Invitational, you'll probably find them. I think it's Marcus Haman's channel. I couldn't
find them on YouTube at the time. I was trying to watch them on the VOD on Twitch. I want to say it was on
Marcus's channel,
but I couldn't watch it on Twitch because you had to be a subscriber to that channel for the VOD. And I was like, well, I'll just watch it sometime later when it comes to YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, so it's on the channel. It's 13 Yoshi 37, which is Marcus Haman's channel. So yesterday I saw like he had like the full 4.5 hour stream, and then over the past day or so he's been posting the individual matches. So if you want to like skip the in between commentary, just go straight into the matches, you're able to do that there. And let's move on and look at some teams that we find a little interesting, a little silly. Not super silly, but
Showdown. I have 8 teams here that you will probably see, or you could play for
the
GC this coming weekend. I figured we'd start with probably the more common things and then kind of work our way into some of the more obscure.
Yeah.
So first up, we have what people just dub it. It's Balance Bros. It's Rillaboom, Incineroar, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, and then you play this offensive Ogerpon Hearthflame alongside 2 other Pokemon. It can be any combination of things like Raging Bolt plus Fluttermane plus Chien-Pao plus Landorus plus whatever combination of physical and special attackers you want to do in the last 2 slots. This is not quite the boogeyman of the format anymore. I feel like this is more just like a relic of Reg F past. Definitely a team you still have to watch out for, but probably not something that I would expect to see a ton of still, as there are updated versions of this style of team running around.
You want to close the show deck to just make it?
I can.
Yeah.
It's not going to do much. I can't close the passer's helper.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's okay. So we can see. Yeah, in general, like, so I think what is interesting with the GC, maybe not this one, but I think it was the February one, in 2024, like the first run through with Reg F, is that the Calm Mind Raging Bolt Balance team was initially a GC team. So I think that is I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That it's like it's started as a GC, there we go. And that just still, it's not
It doesn't change much.
It kind of helps. But yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing it's like a GC team really shaped the entirety of the metagame, and I wouldn't be shocked if that maybe happens again. And again, the rest of the pieces you're going to see your balance bros, double fake out. Yeah, that
How's
works.
that? There we go.
Yeah, that's good. So double fake out with the Incineroar. You're going to see an Ogerpon, whether it is doing setup stuff with Sword Stance or Focus Energy, or acting as a redirector. Scarf Urshifu is also a must on the teams. And then that last spot could be Chien-Pao, could be Lando, could even be Goldango at this point, depending on the other spawns.
I've seen Regidrago floating around.
Yup.
There's a lot you can do with this last slot here and kind of just fill it in as you want. One of the other cool things is there's starting to see like experimentation with like Rillaboom sets, playing that clear amulet instead of the assault vest, which opens up to a different like Raging Bolt set, which could open up to a different Urshifu set, which could open up to a different Pokemon in the slot. There's just a lot of variations you can play with this 6 and kind of play around with stuff. Definitely something that's like people are still exploring, people are still looking at, but when you get into some of the new explorations of things like this one, because this is what the Balance Bros is like the first stepping stone for balance, and this is kind of where the team has kind of evolved into since then.
Yeah, this is very much like going like talking like you comparing past formats. The Calm Minds, like the Raging Bolt stuff, is the balance of the format, and the Fluttermane, the Fluttermane Ogre, Hisuian Arcanine stuff, that's very much like the new balance of the format.
Yeah. But this is probably what I would call the big bad guy. This is the team you will probably see most people playing, because this is the team that has been doing the best in the last handful of events, and people are kind of just copy pasting, picking up things for the GC because they don't want to spend the time to actually build something new. We've talked about this team before. Fluttermane, Arcanine, Hisui, really, really strong lead next to Ogerpon Wellspring. Helps cover a lot of the issues that Fluttermane and Arcanine have in this format by just being able to redirect them with Follow Me and or be able to switch in for Water Absorb. Rounding out the main core, we have an Assault Vest Raging Bolt, just looking to be secondary speed control and priority with Thunderclap, Dragon Pulse, Thunderbolt, real good coverage there. Landorus and Moltres Galar kind of fill in as answers to specific matchups most of the time. Moltres Galar is kind of just a really good balance breaker, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, the offensive flying and dark type just really go well into a lot of Pokemon. You're able to hit Rillaboom, Urshifu, super effective. Fluttermane for neutral.
Incin for neutral.
Incin for neutral. What else you hit?
You hit pretty much everything. I was going to say we did fashion for neutral. I think
I was going to say Amoonguss, Ogerpon forms. You're hitting those super effective with your flying type stab.
Landorus doesn't appreciate Snarl and or Fiery Wrath.
Not at all.
And it's only thing Landorus is doing into you is Sludge Bomb. Like that is not what it wants to be doing in this format. Yeah. So yeah, like this is the big bad. This is the team you probably should expect to see at least a handful of times on your run. You should have a matchup plan for it if you see it, because this is very cookie cutter, very in its own box. There's not a whole lot of variations outside of like this. Sandsear Storm could probably be substitute, but that's honestly really about it in terms of like customization and whatnot. For this 6 anyway.
Yeah. What's our next team?
Next team is
this is very much a U team. I'm still not a fan of the Tingdozo.
This is probably the best of one team in the format, because it wins on an axis that is not fun for people to play against in best of one. Tinglu, Dondozo, Gouging Fire, Chien-Pao, Dragonite, Goldengo, like this checks a lot of boxes for just really hard to break through, really hard to plan for in a best of one format, because you only get one shot at guessing how your opponent's going to lead, and if you guess wrong, you will probably lose the game. There's the leads that beat Tinglu Dondozo do not beat Chenpao Dragonite, do not beat Dragonite Gouging Fire, do not beat Chenpao Gouging Fire, etc., etc. This is probably something I would expect to see as well a lot going into this. It is really hard to just break this team down in a short fashion. Like there's a lot of lines, there's a lot of just knowing your numbers with this team. It's not a beginner friendly team. I wouldn't just pick this up to play it this weekend. No. But if you've been playing Tinglu Dondozo or some variation of this, this is probably the version I would play. Just having access to the offensive options of Chenpao Dragonite alongside your very, very good core of Dozo, Tinglu, Gouging Fire.
Yeah, and even the Goldango, that's another Pokemon is always a GC menace. Yeah. On this team, you can kind of assume it'll probably just be the choice specs. You can
always assume the choice specs.
But you could also just run 3 Attack, Protect, Life Orb, which will still do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Life Orb is anywhere else on this team. So that's an item that's free that gives you another Protect. And again, it's using known info against your opponent where they can think I can attack into the Goldango and have no issue with it. And then all of a sudden it's like, or at least they could say like, I'm going to try to double protect to lock in moves. And then they see that, oh, you got chipped down. It's Life Orb. They wasted a turn, and you can then just do what you want to do the next turn, or just protect in front of them.
Yeah. The next 2 teams are the 2 what I call big weather teams.
This is the new Asian Sun team.
This is the new Sun team. It's Proto Sun is, I guess, is the best way to call it, because this is not like a Sun room. This is definitely looking to be just Torkoal is your Sun setter. That's its job. Don't worry about its HP. I still don't think Heat Rock's worth it.
No, I don't either. But they're just. I think the idea as of right now is there just isn't as much anti-weather in the format. Maybe where. If it works, you can get the 8 turns. Then it's like the Torkoal just did its job immediately.
Notable thing: this one has the After You.
Yes.
That was a big gripe of mine for the last version of these teams that we watched, that we talked about. Not having After You for your Torkoal meant that your Torkoal was always just a sitting duck. This version having that After You, I do think, is very, very important. This kind of gives your Torkoal a meaning rather than just being a sunsetter on your team. Walking Wake, Fluttermane, Lando, Regibolt, we know these are good Pokemon. The Walking Wake's probably the most interesting part of this team. Something we don't normally see a whole ton of. Covert Cloak is the item for this. We talked about it last week a little bit. Your speed is kind of crappy. So this is usually more of probably a plus special attack, just looking to do as much damage as possible, kind of Walking Wake. That way you're not worried about fake out and things like that. This is
Specs Flutter.
It's Specs Flutter and Snarl, Raging Bolt, so there is no real speed control outside of the Sleep Powder. I feel like you could probably play E-Web or Icy Wind in one of these slots, and it's probably fine. Just throwing it out there if you want to catch people off guard.
Yeah, and then the Landorus is just doing
Landorus is the only Landorus is doing the Lando things. That's just what it does.
The only mon that doesn't care about the weather on your team.
Yeah. Next up is the other weather, rain. I still don't think Pelipper is the best rain setter, but whatever.
Yeah, I think this is very much like if you're playing rain, like Pelipper rain, like this is probably one way to do it. My USPA team, we're actually just talking about this with like playing rain. We do have one of the best North American rain players in Chase Mateo on our team, and he was kind of like, yeah, it's Peli should almost always just be torn in a lot of cases. But I think on this team,
welcome to what I was saying.
Yeah, so it definitely is there. Like for this team, like the player who played this probably wanted the wide guard. I think one of the things looking at this that is starting to pop up I don't know if we put this on our list or not, but just like the idea of like Shenpao Amoonguss plus AV Pokemon has been kind of popping up.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, going back like many formats ago, and Junie and I, and more so her, she was like, Shien plus Amoonguss plus AV Iron Hands is like super fucking cool. And then even now it's like Shenpao plus Amoonguss plus like AV Bolt, I think could be something that's like, actually that trio came in third or fourth at a decent sized event this weekend. So I think here it's like what I'm looking at is like this first four here, like Chien, like Pelly setting the reign for Archaludon, and then running the game through Stamina Archaludon with Body Press, Amoonguss for to help support it with Pollen Puff Spore and Rage Powder, and then Chien-Pao to get rid of a lot of the annoying Pokemon that are annoying to Arch, other Dragon types, hitting the mostly other dragon types, boosting up the body press. That's something that's really useful. Like that's like a really cool mode that this team has. And then of course Flutter and Urshifu are just two of the best Pokemon in the entire game, and there's kind of no reason not to use them.
Yeah, like if you're playing Rain, there's no excuse to not play Rapid Strikers. I feel like you have to,
especially the Choice Scarf. I think, and with for this team specifically, since you are running the Pelipper, you don't have the immediate weather setting. Well, so you get the immediate weather setting, but you don't get the immediate tailwind. Running Scarf makes more sense. It also allows your Pelipper to do other things, and I think that is the benefit of Pelipper. Your Pelipper can go on the offense, be defensive with Wide Guard, while also having the rain immediately up. Where if you are playing the Torn, like a Pelipper can set rain and tailwind in the same turn. Torn cannot. And I think that would be the big reason on why you would choose Pelipper over Torn. But I think this team could also work just as well with Tornadus in that slot, with having that same exact idea of the Arch doing like the Arch Amoonguss Shenpao sort of team there.
Yeah. Now we're getting into some more of the fun, unique things that I've been finding in the format. This is what we call Roaring Moon Balladsy, whatever you want to call it.
There were a handful of players, mostly in the Oceania region last year during Regulation F Part 1, that were playing this exact six or a very similar six. That last spot of Goldango could also be something like AV Roaring Moon. I'm sorry, AV Roaring Moon, AV Raging Bolt, or AV Iron Hands. I believe that the 5 out of the 6 plus AV Hands won an early VR tournament this past run through the format. And I know, like, in Reg F Part 1, June and I ran this 6 with the AV Raging Bolt at a couple cups. And we both finished top 8 in that cup, which was really cool. Yeah. Roaring Moon is just a menace. The booster attack of Roaring Moon is one of my favorite Pokemon in Regulation F, whether it was on this team or the Iwafuchi team. Once you get that +1 Dragon Dance with the booster attack, you're outspeeding a ton in the format, if not pretty much anything non-boosted in the format, and your knockoffs and acrobatics are doing crazy damage. For example, if you're hitting a Raging Bolt on switch in, your +1 booster attack knockoff just like one taps Raging Bolt, which is an insanely bulky Pokemon. The fact that you are Dragon Dance as well kind of mitigates the opposing Intimidate, because you can just boost you boost your damage up after the fact. One of the cool things with this team as well, at least for this version, is that you do have the Helping Hand on instant as well. Helping Hand could be any of the other usual coverage moves. You don't have to run the knockoff there because you have the dark coverage in Roaring Moon. However, if you do want to just have the double knockoff, that's great. You can also run Taunt in that spot. You can run Will-O-Wisp. Like, there's a lot of cool things you can do. Amoonguss, as you've seen with a lot of these teams, a lot of them are dropping Protect because you really want your Amoonguss to be an active participant in a lot of these games, while still keeping the ability to keep your Pokemon alive with Pollen Puff because of the fact that you're running, specifically on this team, double setup. The Goldingo, I'm assuming, is also, yep, it's also Nasty Plot with the wrong item. That should be Iron Plate. Just like, again, you're getting this God and anime. It's a little polish or God and anime. Like which one sounds more powerful? But back to the Amoonguss, that's just something that we're seeing where you want you want it to be able to do everything, and because you're Regenerator and you're running Balance, you can switch out that slot because you're cycling Incin in or getting another Pokemon in position. You switch enough where the Regenerator will keep you healthy. Classic Wellspring Ogerpon next to the Fluttermane, one of my favorite leads in this format. Going with Perish as your fourth move is a really cool tech, because you have the Incin and the Amoonguss to just really, really slow the game down. The only issue with that is that those are two Pokemon that don't have Protect, and when you usually are playing a dedicated Perish, you want Protect on everything to stall out turns. But once the Roaring Moon gets a couple KOs in and you turn that into a raid boss, you can get that 3v2, you can go Perish, you can win that way.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up everything I want to talk about on this one.
Really cool team. If you like running Balance with setup, I think this is one of the other, and you don't want to do the Raging Bolt setup, this is another way to do setup. This is another very Angelo-coded team. This
is a very Angelo-coded team.
The last two have been very Angelo-coded. This is Tailwind with Tailroom with a Dark type, with one of the Dark type dragon-based Paradox Mons. Yes.
Either Jugulis, or you could also play I believe you could play the Roaring Moon in this slot as well.
So that spot, it's Jugulis, Roaring Moon. Hell, you can even do Torn and just have straight up Torn in that spot. The Jugulis on this team is really nice because it gives you an immediate fly. Like, it is it's pretty fast. It is more supporty. The difference between this and the Roaring Moon is that you have the stab flying immediately. One of the things that this team does kind of struggle with is that Shen Pao plus Amoonguss that we were talking about earlier, which is funny. One of my USPA players, I was like talking about this team, and they're like, "What's your, like that? The Amoonguss Gen stuff is rising a little. It's like, what's your plan into that?" And I'm like, "We'll figure it out." Amoonguss is really good into this team, or at least especially into Blood Moon. So having a flying type in Iron Jugulis that can threaten immediately with the Air Slash is really great. Incin and Ogerpon make it so that you can get your Trick Room up or your Tailwind up, depending on what mode you want to play. You also, yet again, have the Wellspring plus Flutter Bleed, which is always
it's another Perish Song Fluttermane.
Yeah, the Perish.
This is kind of like what this version of this team kind of displays.
Yeah. Now there are versions as well if you aren't going to be running the Iron Jugulis. We've talked about this a lot. The 5 of Farig, Blood Moon, Incin, Amoonguss, Flutter are pretty much set in this team. It's that 6 slot that rotates. If you aren't running a Tailwind Pokemon like the Tailwind Acrobatics Roaring Moon or this Tailwind Iron Jugulis, you're going with something like Urshifu Single Strike. You're going with Iron Hands. You're going with AV Raging or like a Raging Bolt. Usually the instant has the AV, so it'd be like something like Booster Raging Bolt or Magnet Raging Bolt, Zap Plate. You can go and run Icy Wind over the Perish Song in that spot.
That's your speed control then?
Yep. That's like your non-Trick Room speed control. The Blood Moon itself, self-explanatory. You're running it's going to be
punch things.
Yeah.
In the famous words of Carter.
Yes. You can do a lot of different things. So I spoke the originator of this team, or one of the earlier adopters of it last year, was Dr. Aaron Trailer. So I went and asked him, I'm like, hey, what speed stat did you use for your Blood Moon Ursaluna? and I asked the most 252 player what their stats were, and he's like, "Oh, well,
Here you
252,
go.
252," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." So you can definitely just run like Cocaine Bear on this. You can play around with the speed stat a little as well.
You can get some really cool funky numbers.
Yeah, I think it was when last time I was using it, I was around base 100. No, I'm sorry, not base 100, 100 invest. I think that got me faster than Timid Lando. You can actually
Base
show it
100
out up right
invest
now.
is 85.
85 to 170. Yeah, that got me
That should put you at 170.
170.
Which is 1 point faster than I believe Lando.
Yeah, so yep, that's where I had that. So you can just click Blood Moon into it and then laugh. I think the big change from this team to last team, just real quick on the Frigoraph, is that we are now seeing the Throat Spray with Protect as the main version instead of like the Helping Hand stuff. I think one of the cool things that people should start doing, and I've seen a little, is running Psychic Noise over Psychic. You do lose a bit of utility, but being Psychic Noise stops the ability for the Pollen Puff going off, stops Drain Punch, and the other thing that's really cool is that it is a noise move, which means you can actually click your Psychic Stab to activate the Throat Spray instead of being forced to click Hyper Voice in order to get that boost. So now you have 2 moves to do it. Okay.
Instead of just the one.
Yep. As you can say, love this team. Rounded out with something that we all just
do not care for.
So I have a few friends who they're like Psy Spam or like just like the TR Psychic like Indeedee hats connoisseurs, and I love them. This is the quintessential like I need a team that's just generally good and going to get me 20 some odd points at the GC.
I'm going to finish just above 500. That'll get me where I need to be. Like this is it.
Play this team.
You got Trick Room with Indeedee, Hatterene, Gallade. You got Torkoal as just like a really good sweeper. You got Urshifu to check all the things that you're scared of. And then you round this out with a Decorate, Spore, Fake Out, Follow Me, Smeargle that's just really, really strong. Next to all of these Pokemon that love to see Decorate. Yeah, this is the definition of you'll win half the games you play, you'll lose the other half the games. Like this is how this team works. This is I guess this is probably the closest thing to size spam as we're gonna see probably in Reg F right now. That's I would say standard enough to where you could probably get away with it. You got a lot of these Indeedee are dropping Dazzling Gleam for Alluring Voice now, which is interesting. Because it gets the boosting people. It confuses them and catches them off guard, and it kind of makes a mess of their plans. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we want to talk about.
Yeah, so a lot of cool things between again this Summit of Champions, and I think more so like the fun stuff with the GC. I'm probably just locking in some Blood Moon Frig thing. Like, I'm like looking at some other teams. Like, okay, that's neat. I know who I am, and I know that haven't had a chance to play in like close to a month. So I'm going to need to lock in something that I just instinctively know what to do.
Something you're comfortable enough with that you can play it, and it won't be the end of the world.
Exactly, and it's like Frig's always a cool Pokemon to use. Like, it's another Pokemon that is a really cool GC mon because of the number of different things that the Pokemon can do in terms of its spreads. So we have we'll probably be doing whatever GC coverage comes out on the 11th, we'll be talking about.
Yep.
If there's like anything cool there. 17th is Toronto, and I think once it hits the 17th, we kick off on things.
Yep, once we get to the 17th, it is all guns firing. It's Toronto. We got Reg F official formats back.
Yep, we have that. USPA officially, the week one officially starts tomorrow. My team is facing the bye week one because we have
Oh
byes this season.
boy.
We have there are 33 teams, not 32, 33, which yeah,
How'd they do that?
I don't know. So it's funny because like last year we had. So the reason why there is a team Connecticut and a team rest of New England is because we were just a New England team, and there were 31 teams last year. And at the last minute, they asked us, "Hey, can you split?" Because we had like literally barely enough players to field two teams between the 2 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out mostly. Connecticut made playoffs, and I got my heart broken. Um, week like a week 7 just debacle. Like I felt like I don't know, pick someone.
So where'd the extra team come from then? This time?
This time, so there were like 4 or 5 Alaskan players who signed up, and then a bunch of other people from like just like random states and places that didn't have a not a big enough regional base, or like
Yeah.
they just didn't make like whatever their closest
Montana,
team was.
Wyoming.
Exactly. So it's like
states like that have small populations but not enough.
Yeah, it's like an Alaska plus everyone else team, and that's kind of like what it turned into.
Hawaii.
Yeah, like literally. So, and then we're looking, and I'm like, okay, we're going through divisions. Okay, 8 teams, 8 teams, 8 teams. Why does my division have 9 teams? And then, so now it's like, since it's an extra week long, the 8-team divisions have 2 teams on bye every single week to like max it out. And then mine is like, there's always only going to be 1. So I'm going through everything, and I'm like, well, I don't see my name. And I'm like, Alyssa, am I on bye? And she's like, yeah, you are. I'm like, awesome. Cool. Great way to start the season. Would have loved, yeah. So I'm managing my team. I went and gave everyone, we're doing an in-house scrimmage, and then I think I might even do like a little like limitless tour of just the New England player, of just my team players, just to like get some reps in. Because we also have half of the team. That's the other thing. Half of the team's going to Toronto next week. So I already know everyone knows who's starting next week. It's the 7 people who are not going to the regional, and so I also want to make sure that my players who are going to the regional have games to practice, because I was going to start them this week so they could have a really good like practice set before the regional. Out the window. So I gotta go I gotta literally create it myself. But yeah, like I think once it kicks in, it's going to feel like this season, like, or at least this format's like really back. It'll definitely kick me into gear, because they expanded rosters, they expanded the number of players who have to play each week. So I'm going to call my own number a lot more than I like doing so, which is, in all honesty, 0 times when I'm managing. I don't like playing and managing at the same time. I need to be like, it's like I can't be the play caller, and
you can't
like
do the play caller and the head coach.
I gotta be an executive head coach. Carl, last year I quoted Nick Sirianni in my goodbye message, and I told my players if I ever do that ever again, they're allowed to like just mutiny, like just throw full mutiny, just depose me immediately.
Get him.
Yeah, and I just but like that's kind of like what I did, where I'm like I tried doing both, I can't, but now this time I'm going to have to like Dan Campbell it, because I have no choice.
Yeah,
but yeah, that is a fun. If you are on a USPA team, congratulations and good luck. I hope that I beat you when I play you. So do we have anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
Yeah, no, awesome. So you can hear about all the other stuff we're doing on our socials, which is at Littleroot Lessons on Blue Sky. You can hear from the hosts on their social channels. We have at Musical, at Mr. Misery 25, and at Roast into Cheeks. However, you have a much, much, much better shot at catching Carter on his Twitch, because I don't think he's ever posted on his Blue Sky. Also at Mr. Missouri 25, he's been doing a lot of his Nuzlocking stuff, along with playing the Pokemon TCG whenever he gets a chance.
Currently playing Run and Bun.
He's
the
currently. Oh
mornings.
my god. Oh, does he hate
that's
himself?
I don't know. We're gonna find out real soon.
I'm. The streets are saying probably does if he's doing Run and Bun.
He picked up Run and Bun as his Twitch stream game because he finished his White 2 playthrough for the big Nuzlocke thing with the community he's playing with. So yeah, Run and Bun's been neat. It's not something I've watched a ton of. I watched every time I would turn Run and Bun on for someone, it was always just a lot of calcs, a lot of doing math, and I'm just like, I don't want to sit here and watch you do 30 minutes of calcs. I'm good. I'll pass. But Carter does a pretty good job of balancing it out, kind of splitting it up. He's gotten pretty good at running the calcs while also still playing the game. There are spots where he has to kind of stop, pause, and plan out big fights, but overall it's definitely one of the more interesting Nuzlocks I think I've seen.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I think it's just in general a lot different from what he was doing with Blue Kaizo. And again, like, you can follow him there. YouTube channel for everything. At some point, speaking of Blue Kaizo, his Blue Kaizo stuff will be somewhere.
Yeah, he was messaging me about getting all the files for me, and was like, I don't have any of them on my PC, and if you send them all to me at one go, it will never get done. So do not send me everything in one go.
So that'll be done soon, and yeah, once Champions news rolls around, hopefully we'll be getting back to like doing some draft league stuff, hosting some pre-champions tournaments.
That'll be the goal. When people are interested in playing the new game and not getting the old game out again.
When we can click the Mega Evolution button.
Yeah, not excited about that, but
yeah,
everything else is great.
Oh, I'm excited. I am actually very excited to click the Mega Evolution button, only because it's not the Terra button at this point, and I just want to click.
I don't even click Mega when I'm playing in ZA, man. I just really don't like. I will find teams that are 1 Mega or less most of the time for ZA. My current setup is I'm doing all of the like hyperspace end of game stuff where you're grinding for the 70,000 points, the 100,000 points, and like your biggest points are beating up the rogue Mega Evolutions again.
Yeah.
I am literally walking up with Trick or Treat, Gorgeist, and Rage Fist Annihilate, and I am just doing that because I do not want to Mega Evolve anything.
I love clicking the Mega button. I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, let's go. I like tap my.
It doesn't do anything.
Bracelet on my
wrist.
I'm like, I'm going to tap my wrist. I'm like, yes, I'm doing this.
It just doesn't.
I don't know.
It doesn't have the same effect for me. I got back into the game during Megas, and it just does not do anything.
Yeah, for me. I don't know. Something in my lizard brain is like, this is awesome. Even though I know that it's going to suck to play against probably for like VGC, it just. I don't know.
I just want to know what the abilities are. That's all I care about. I just want to see what those are.
God, this is an outro of all time. We're cutting. You know where to find us. You know what we're all about. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy New Year again.